In the shadow of the jagged cliffs of Xylar, 9, the colony of Valera had lived in fear for generations. Stories of the Nyrak beast, a creature of terrifying intelligence and ferocity, had been passed down like sacred warnings. The villagers spoke of its obsidian scales, its eyes like molten amber, and the way it hunted with patience, often taking days to strike its prey. Celera, a young warrior of the colony, had grown up knowing she would face it one day. Her mother, before disappearing on a hunting mission years ago, had told her, "The beast waits for your weakness. Strength alone will not save you. Only courage and clarity can turn the tide." Celera had trained relentlessly, practicing with the blades, studying the terrain, and meditating to sharpen her senses. Yet, the looming thought of the Nyrak beast kept her awake at night, trembling despite her armor. It was the third night of the Crimson Moons when the alert sounded, a deep, vibrating pulse from the village horn. The beast was near. Celera's heart pounded as the entire colony scrambled. She stood atop the cliffs, her cloak catching the cold wind, eyes scanning the blackened forest below where the beast had last been sighted. For hours, she waited, every muscle coiled like a spring, every breath shallow. Shadows shifted unnaturally, and the silence of Xylar, 9, felt like a predator itself. And then, she saw it, a hulking silhouette moving through the mist, silent yet imposing. Its eyes caught hers, and for a moment, Celera felt the paralyzing weight of fear that had gripped her ancestors. But this night would be different. As she readied her spear, a sudden commotion echoed from the forest edge. A human, a stranger, emerged from the shadows, carrying nothing but a small, strange device that emitted pulses of light. The colony had not seen a human in decades. Outside of Valera, humans were considered myths, dangerous and unpredictable. The beast roared, a sound that shattered the night and rattled the stones beneath her feet.
It charged.
Celera's instinct screamed at her to strike, yet the human stepped forward fearlessly, raising the glowing device. The beast froze. Its amber eyes flickered, confused by the strange light. The human manipulated the device, and a harmonic resonance echoed through the air. Celera realized in shock that the sound was affecting the beast. It recoiled, stumbling as if the resonance reached some deep, primal part of it. Without hesitation, the human advanced, weaving through the beast's attempts to strike. Celera, initially unsure, followed cautiously, her blade ready. She had always been taught to confront danger head-on, but now she saw that courage came in many forms, not just physical strength. Minutes stretched into a tense dance. The beast lunged, twisted, and roared, yet every time, the human anticipated its movement, guiding it with light and sound rather than force. Celera's heart pounded, not with fear, but with awe. She had trained her entire life to face the beast, yet she realized her knowledge alone was not enough. Finally, the beast stopped moving. Its head lowered, and it growled, a low rumble that echoed sorrow and recognition rather than aggression. The human placed the device on the ground, and the resonance shifted, soothing the creature. Celera stepped forward cautiously, approaching the beast. It did not attack. Instead, it regarded her with a gaze that seemed to measure her spirit. She knelt slowly, letting her hands rest on the earth. The beast sniffed the air, its massive body tense for a moment, and then it turned, lumbering back into the mist from which it had come. The village erupted in disbelief and relief. Celera looked at the human, who finally removed their hood, revealing features both familiar and strange. "I'm Joran," he said, voice calm yet commanding. "I've been tracking the beast for months. Your people have been trying to fight it with weapons, but it responds to fear and aggression. This is another way." Celera felt a mix of gratitude and curiosity. Another way, she echoed. Empathy, patience, understanding. Even creatures like this respond to signals they recognize. Force alone never worked for your ancestors, and it won't work for you. But connection changes everything. The words resonated with her in ways she could not have imagined. All her life, she had prepared to kill the beast, to strike it down before it struck her. But now, she understood that the real courage was in choosing a different path. In the days that followed, Celera and Joran worked together to teach the colony how to live in harmony with the creatures of Xylar, 9, including the Nyrak beast. Fear began to fade, replaced by respect. And for the first time, Celera felt that the weight of generations of terror had lifted. She often returned to the cliffs where she had first faced the beast, but now she did not stand alone, and she did not stand in fear. She watched the forest with quiet confidence, knowing that courage could manifest not only in battle but in understanding, and that sometimes a single human could change everything. When the Nyrak beast appeared again, it did not roar or attack. It merely watched Celera from the shadows, a silent acknowledgement that balance had been restored. And as the crimson moons bathed the world in their eerie light, Celera finally smiled, free from the burden she had carried since childhood. Because she had learned the truth. Sometimes, the most dangerous beasts are not conquered with strength alone. They are transformed by empathy, courage, and the unexpected wisdom of one human willing to change the rules. Ending. Celera and the human, Joran, became legends in Valera. Not because they defeated the beast with weapons, but because they had shown the village a new path, one where understanding replaced fear and cooperation replaced conflict. The Nyrak beast was no longer a terror, but a guardian of the land, and Celera had discovered that true heroism was not about survival alone. It was about changing the world for the better. Presence, both terrifying and enchanting, that I couldn't shake. The next day, I decided to explore Viridian. It was a beautiful planet, covered in emerald forests and lakes that reflected the twin suns above. Technology here was integrated seamlessly with nature. Cities appeared to grow organically, structures rising like trees from the ground. But even in this paradise, I sensed the same fear that had permeated the shuttle. People were wary of those who were different, those who didn't conform to expectations. As I wandered a marketplace of floating vendors and sentient holograms, I felt a presence behind me. Turning, I saw Lyria. She had arrived on the same planet, though I hadn't expected to see her so soon. Her appearance was casual, yet alien elegance marked every movement. "You followed me," I said, half in surprise, half in amusement. "I could sense you," she replied softly. "There is resonance. You understand more than most." I smiled, feeling a strange warmth in my chest. "I think it's just that I try to see people not what they are." Lyria studied me, then nodded. "A rare gift. Perhaps one day, you will help others see beyond fear as well." We wandered the city together, sharing stories, exchanging laughter, and discovering the wonders of Viridian. She demonstrated abilities I had only heard about in legends, manipulating light to create intricate illusions, communicating with animals through subtle vibrations, and sensing energy patterns in the environment. It was mesmerizing, though she never flaunted her power. Instead, she shared it with curiosity and joy, showing me how to see the world from a perspective entirely alien, yet deeply profound. Days passed. I had grown accustomed to her presence, and I noticed the world around us seemed to respond. Markets that once had been filled with wary glances now opened up to us. Children approached her, fascinated by her abilities, and elders began to observe, nodding in quiet respect. Slowly, Fear gave way to curiosity. One evening, as twin moons rose over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of violet and silver, Lyria and I stood on a cliff overlooking the city. She had been quiet, contemplative. I could sense her mood shifting. "You've changed things," I said softly, "even in just a few days." "Perhaps," she replied, "but change is fragile. One must choose it, nurture it, or it vanishes." I looked at her, the way moonlight shimmered across her skin, and realized I hadn't been thinking just about the world, but about her. She was no longer merely the alien woman who had been rejected by strangers. She had become someone I cared for deeply. "I'm glad I gave you my seat," I said. Her eyes softened, and for a moment, she reached out, her delicate hand brushing mine. "And I am grateful," she whispered, "for seeing me when others could not, for touching more than my hand." The air between us seemed to hum with energy, subtle yet undeniable. I felt a thrill, a fear, and a hope all at once. And when our hands lingered together, I knew we had formed a connection that transcended species, worlds, and the shallow fears of others. Weeks turned into months. Lyria integrated into Viridian society with remarkable grace. She became a teacher of sorts, demonstrating her knowledge and abilities to those willing to learn, bridging the gap between alien and native cultures. The initial fear among the populace gradually faded, replaced with admiration, curiosity, and eventually acceptance. And I was always there, beside her, not as a protector, but as a companion, a partner in this journey of discovery. One day, as we stood atop the central plaza of the city, observing a gathering where children practiced energy manipulation under her guidance, she turned to me. "You see," she said, "fear is a choice. Kindness is stronger. And those who offer it change everything." I smiled, realizing how far we had come, from a crowded shuttle where no one would sit beside her, to a city that embraced her presence. "I see," I said, "and I'm glad I took that seat." She took my hand, her grip gentle yet firm. "Then perhaps we should never let go." And for the first time in a long while, I believed that difference was not something to fear, but a gift. A gift that, when met with courage and kindness, could change the course of entire worlds. We stood there together, hand in hand, watching the sunset over Viridian. Around us, the city hummed with life, laughter, and hope. No longer was she the alien woman that others shunned. She was a force of change, a bridge between worlds, and, in my eyes, the most extraordinary companion I could ever have imagined. The shuttle ride that had begun as a simple act of kindness had led to something far greater: friendship, trust, and perhaps the beginning of a love that defied the cosmos itself. And as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the city, I knew that the universe had a strange, wondrous way of rewarding those who chose to act with compassion, even when no one else would. Because sometimes giving someone your seat isn't just about the space beside you, it's about the space in your heart.